Have you ever gone out in search of a spooky legend and got more than you bargained for? That's what happened to us at Kitchen Lake. At first glance, Kitchen Lake is exactly what you would expect. Quiet, peaceful, beautiful. The water moves gently beneath the cloudy Oklahoma sky. Water lilies drift across the surface. Birds glide overhead. Turtles bask on sun-warmed rocks. Everything about the place feels calm, relaxing, almost welcoming. Looks peaceful, right? Think again. Before we ever reached the bridge, we were confronted with something that immediately changed the mood. Along the fence line, we spotted something undeniably strange. At first glance, from a distance, I mistook them for birds, perched silently along the posts. They seemed almost natural, but something about them didn't feel right. Curiosity got the better of me. As I stepped closer, I suddenly realized what I was looking at. Fish heads! Several of them, mounted or more accurately, impaled along the fence posts. This might be where some people would have turned around, but not me. I was completely intrigued. Perhaps there was a simple explanation for them. Perhaps they had been left behind for hawks, vultures, or other scavengers. Or perhaps they were there for another reason entirely. It felt less like a random discovery and more like a warning. The farther we traveled, the more isolated everything became. There wasn't another soul in sight. Just miles of back roads, open land, and that heavy, watchful quiet. Eventually, we reached the point where the direction suggested the bridge should be nearby. We parked the car and stepped out into the silence. Standing there, I quickly realized we could be walking for quite some time before ever finding what we had come for. The area was far more overgrown than I expected. Trees and brush seemed to swallow everything around us, and there was very little to suggest that an old bridge was hidden somewhere beyond them. While I was trying to decide which direction made the most sense, my husband began scouting ahead. And then suddenly, he found it. There it was, Kitchen Lake Bridge, or at least what remained of it. Time had not been kind. The bridge stood weathered and forgotten, slowly being reclaimed by the landscape around it. Any thoughts of crossing it vanished immediately. The structure was far too deteriorated and far too dangerous to even consider attempting it. Standing there, it was easy to understand why no one uses it anymore. As we explored the area, a single vehicle slowly approached us. I explained that we were simply out on an adventure, hoping to find this bridge. He smiled and told us that years ago, people actually used it to reach the other side. Before he left, I asked if he knew anything about the remains of the so-called witch's house. To my surprise, he did. The ruins weren't beyond the bridge at all, he said. Instead, he pointed us toward a narrow opening near a fence line that would lead us there on foot. He warned us to be respectful because the land beyond was private property. Take a few photographs, then leave. At that point, our search for an abandoned bridge had quietly become something else entirely. And the deeper we ventured into the landscape, the more it felt as though the stories surrounding this place were beginning to come alive. We came looking for an abandoned bridge. What we found was a forgotten legend and a few unexpected mysteries. But after reviewing the footage later that evening, I discovered something I hadn't noticed at the time. A faint whisper that didn't belong there. Have a listen. And with that, our kitchen lake adventure had come to an end. At least for now.